Hi guys, Richard here. I hope this video finds you well. We continue our series of videos showcasing the new features of our Tracker suite of indicators for NinjaTrader 8. Today's topic is TrackerRTH, which is our indicator that focuses on intraday price. As a general statement, intraday price action typically involves the testing of the structures formed during the prior RTH session, the Globex session, and the ongoing RTH session. Price needs to expand outside these three ranges before it can start testing price structures formed in the prior days, weeks, or months. Our Tracker MP and Tracker DWM indicators were designed to assist with trading when price is interacting with the higher time frames. At its core, TrackerRTH is a visualization tool. It is designed to help you anticipate where price reversals may occur. When you think about it, isn't that why we add indicators and mark up our charts? Regardless of what we draw, our expectation is that price is going to try to reverse when it gets there. Our hope then is to hit a target and exit our position if we are already in a trade going one way, or get a trade entry to go the other way. With TrackerRTH, from one indicator you can plot some 25 different features of price. TrackerRTH does the work for you, saving you time and mental energy, so that you can focus on trading. Your real task is to prove what works for you, and then to stick to trading it. TrackerRTH originated 7 years ago. It was designed to solve 6 problems for me and for which I could find no solution with other available indicators. I wanted RTH references on an ETH chart. Investment charts use RTH, and that's where the big money trades. I wanted information like the session open and initial balance to be accurate on non-time-based charts. I wanted my trading chart to load and reload as fast as possible, which requires some chart independence from the data loading requirements for the chart. What this means is loading only a few days of data on the chart, but still being able to plot references like the 200-day simple moving average, which normally requires 200 days of data loaded on the chart. Next, I wanted to be able to change indicator settings on the fly, right from the chart, without the distraction and delay of going through the indicator user interface. Doing this manually was very time-consuming, drained my energy, and was prone to errors and omissions despite my best efforts. Trying to do portions of this with freebie indicators resulted in cluttered graphics. The indicators were difficult to control the settings, and several indicators had calculation errors. 2 maxims come to mind to explain why I coded my own indicator. First, there's no benefit to being penny wise and pound foolish. Second, work smarter, not harder. With TrackerRTH, I realized both. Let's get back now to a run-through of the features of TrackerRTH. TrackerRTH is intended to run on your trade entry chart, which is usually your lowest time frame chart. The indicator tracks prices, fibs, session estimates, plus a variety of other things. The visible menu item turns the indicator on and off. Now, starting from a plot with the settings turned off, the price submenu lets you pick which prices are shown. Previous day high and low, and Globex high and low. Current session open and previous session close. The market profile value area and TPOC for the previous RTH session. Half gap on close and half gap on range if applicable. Separate plots of the RTH and Globex half-back, those are calculated separately for each session. 3 daily moving averages, floor trader pivots, and the 60-minute initial balance. Next, the Fib submenu lets you pick from 5 sets of Fibonacci retracements or extensions. These include 3 sets of Fib retracements and 2 sets of Fib extensions. The Fib retracements stop plotting once current price extends outside the range. Here, you cannot see the previous RTH session fibs because price went above the previous day's high. For session estimates, 3 options are available. Here we see the 60-minute initial balance shown with a range of 12.5 points. The measured move for a range is typically 100% above or below the range. In this case, this means adding 12.5 points to the initial balance high or subtracting 12.5 points from the initial balance low to estimate the potential session high or low. A more conservative estimate uses half of this range. The second session estimate assumes the RTH session range will be a fixed amount. The estimated fixed session range can be entered as either a set amount in points, say 30 points, or as a percentage of the prior RTH session's range. The default indicator setting is 80%, which just happened to be a perfect match for the session range on Friday, as shown by the 2 horizontal lines in purple I've added. The third session estimate uses the average daily range. You specify how many days are used to calculate the average daily range, noting that 5 or 10 days is common. TrackerRTH then tracks 3 estimated values for session high and low: the average daily range, the average daily range plus 1 standard deviation, and the average daily range plus 2 standard deviations. For the latter 2 session estimate methods, TrackerRTH updates the location of the estimated session high and low as the current session's low and high change throughout the session. The submenu called Other allows you to select amongst a variety of options. Using leader lines to plot the session highs and lows, adding price to text labels, drawing up to 3 vertical lines at specified times, noting a 4th timeline will be drawn automatically at the session start. Next up is a feature called Bar Range 1, which will draw the range of the last closed bar. This is a quick way to keep track of the range of each bar. I use it to avoid trade entry on signal bars above a certain size. Next down is the Session Information Dashboard, which summarizes the gap size and direction, gap on range size and direction, overnight inventory status, session volume, and range. This lets you take the pulse of the market. To my knowledge, NinjaTrader has no built-in capability to track session volume on a chart. Skip down on the submenu to ETH Total Volume, and you can toggle showing the session volume as either ETH volume or separately as Globex and RTH volumes. When you know your instrument, you can easily assess the session tempo by its total volume and range at any point in the day. Similarly, gap size and direction tells its own story as to the likelihood of filling and sometimes whether the day is more likely to range sideways than trend. The indicator status feature shows you the time and date of the last RTH session close, highlighting whether it was a regular, early close, or double early close. It is a reminder for days following holidays, but also serves to help confirm chart data is properly loaded. I've had days where the chart data did not load properly. Left unrecognized, talk about putting yourself at a major disadvantage for that trading session. SmartAnalysis is the last feature. It provides separate real-time commentary for your consideration during both the Globex and RTH sessions. Comments are provided on the impending open type, certain extreme conditions before the open, gap and gap on range status, and ongoing status as it relates to certain statistical behaviors. If you trade ES, then you likely already know that I am referring to its statistical behavior as it relates to breaking the initial balance and Globex ranges. For me, when something happens 95+% of the time, that is close enough to just expect it every session, which in turn helps for holding positions to a reasonable target. In trading, I cringe at the expression that nothing is 100%, because that person often is referring to something being 30 to 50%. That's more than just a little off from 100%. The session shown here, however, is a fitting example of the exception to the rule by not having taken out either Globex extreme, and as such, it is fair to say that its stat is not 100%. As far as settings go, you control the RTH session start and end times, the plot colors, and font size used for text labels. You also control the XY coordinates, where the session information and indicator status text are plotted. Plus, you control 2 margins and 1 offset. You control the left margin, against which the text labels are plotted. You also control the offset of the fib retracements from the current bar. Lastly, you control the right side fibs margin beyond which the fibs don't plot. While this might not make sense immediately, it does as soon as we insert another indicator like Tracker VP. Now you can see Tracker RTH plotting on either side while respecting the Tracker VP space as a no plot zone. As an aside, you might wonder why I would show the market profile value area in TPOC if I have the volume profile from Tracker VP. This provides a quick way to assess agreement because confluence is an important concept. To me, confluence means to expect traders to be doing the same thing but for different reasons, thereby making a level stronger. It is also not which is better, market or volume profile. It is having an appreciation of both trader groups represented. For the session shown here, you can see poor agreement between the two profiles. Well, we have reached the stage of the video where traditionally I'm supposed to present you with examples of all the times trades work perfectly. If you have been trading for any period of time, you will already know where price can be expected to test for a reversal. You don't need me to show you that. If you are new to trading, I suggest you go back and study where price has reversed the last 10, 20, or even 100 days. Are there places where price has reversed often enough that you should be tracking those levels every day? TrackerRTH is my answer to that question. So let's keep it simple and just look at last Friday's opportunities. Do you see the long and later the short opportunities at the previous day high, plus the short at the IB high, and then later at the IB low? For this range-bound monthly options expiration Friday, do you notice how price settled to close the week around the Thursday halfback value, which, while we have Tracker VP up to help us, was also the Thursday open in VWAP. Price Friday also held below its halfback in VWAP. When trading on lower time frame charts, comparable to say 1 to 3 minutes, it helps to get input from what other traders can see on higher time frame charts comparable to say 15 to 60 minutes. I would also like to use this time to make the following points. Traders watch pre-existing, well-known areas for price reversal. Conversely, not knowing these areas can put you at a disadvantage. We did not seek perfection, but instead seek to put odds in our favor. Being right on the next higher time frames helps to let your winners run. It helps to know the high probability behaviors of the instruments you trade. As a nuance in my experience, things like support and resistance, supply and demand, order blocks, institutional candles, imbalance origins, etc. just don't appear in the middle of nowhere. To me, they represent secondary structures formed as footprints of the back and forth between bulls and bears that took place around and after some primary reference had already formed. I find value in recognizing and using these primary references. For now, I leave you to ponder the same as it relates to your trade planning, trade location, direction, and entry timing. Take a look at the 4 trade examples I gave. Where did the double bottom and top and drop-based drop level form? Did they not form as secondary structures around and after the IB high, the IB low, and the previous day high primary references formed? How might you use that in your trading? More on this topic in future videos. I hope you have found this video helpful. Please come visit the website and give TrackerRTH a try. If you want to see more content, let me know by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, or leaving a comment. Until next time, may all your trades be green.